Hey guys, so for this week, under week 2, I have posted a folder here. And within this folder, you're gonna have some lecture videos to help you guys develop your terms further. These are all just extra resources for you guys. Please go and watch them if you're struggling with any of these different terms. You don't have to watch every single one of them. Again, it's just some resources for you guys to make sure that you're understanding ethos, pathos, logos, and even rhetorical distance. By the end of this week, let me get back to our main page. By the end of this week, that is March 6th, you should have already posted 1 to 2 terms and then responded to 2 classmates. I think something I'm seeing a lot of is people are not responding to classmates, and that's where you're losing a lot of those points. Also, your responses to your classmates are too short. So really strive to give detailed feedback to your peers. I always say give feedback as you would like to receive feedback. So that way you are making sure that you're being really intentional about what you're writing and just the compliments or even the criticism that you're giving your partners on their posts. So on Friday, you are going to post an introduction and thesis to the discussion forum. And so this would be just a paragraph of your intro to your articles, and then also your intro is going to have a summary of the source and some context for your reader just to kind of help them understand the context of what this article was written or video. And then you're also going to have a thesis statement. So a resource that I'm going to post for you guys is going to be this rhetorical analysis outline. This is, again, just kind of an optional resource for you guys, an optional handout, so that you can have something to refer to whenever you're kind of developing your rhetorical analysis paper. Something that I see a lot of people struggle with is really getting that length for this paper. And also, people miss a lot of the important sections because they're kind of unsure how to organize them, or even they're spending too much time focusing on certain areas that don't really have as much weight to them when I'm grading this paper. So again, March 6th is when you're going to have your intro and your thesis draft due. So if you look here at the outline, within the introduction, something that you were probably taught in high school English, and something that I kind of like to remind my students of, is using a hook. This can be an attention-grabbing statement that is either a statistic, a direct quote, or maybe a thought-provoking question. So maybe there's a shocking statistic that was shared in one of your articles or the videos that you're using for your paper. That would be really interesting to pull out. Maybe you have a quote that you can pull that really emotionally grabbed you when you were reading your artifact that you can use kind of as that opening. Something that I see a lot of people forget to do when using a hook is they forget to provide some commentary or background information. In other words, why is this statistic, quote, question important to your paper? Obviously, you're not going to say this is important, because you're going to kind of provide just a brief background, a sentence, making that connection in leading into your thesis. And so your thesis statement, 2 things I like to tell my students to focus on is making sure that your thesis is arguable and it's specific. For the sake of this particular assignment, some things that you can include in your thesis are the author's purpose, and then how they aim to accomplish this purpose and whether or not they were successful. So this is a very simple one. Please do not use this one, but you could say something along the lines of, in David Sedaris's article, Letting Go, Sedaris uses ethos, pathos, and logos in order to convince his readers to stop smoking. Very simply put, that has what rhetorical terms are being appealed to. Obviously, I want more detail than that. So you could say, instead of ethos, builds his credibility with his audience or destroys his credibility. For pathos, you can say invokes the emotion of sadness in his reader, things like that. And then you're sharing a purpose and whether or not he was successful in that purpose, right? And so again, thinking about a purpose, in other words, what is this author trying to get the reader to think, feel, believe, or do, right? And so those are just a couple of things I'm looking for in your intro and your thesis. You can also provide a brief summary and just some context if you want, or you can reserve that for your next paragraph under summary and context. And so I don't want to spend too much time talking about this outline. I just briefly wanted to touch on intro because that's what you're working on this week. Next week, I'll have a video posted up kind of just going through some more of these points for this rhetorical analysis outline. This handout will also be in our Unit 3 folder so that you can refer back to and you can kind of just print this off and have it as a reference point.